Are you trying to figure out if housing prices are going to go down in 2022? I'm Martel and I own over 500 homes in 6 different states across the country, and today I'm going to run you through a crash course on the state of the housing market, and we're going to see exactly if housing prices are going to go up or down and by how much. And you know what? I'm going to go one step further and I'm going to teach you exactly what makes housing prices go down. So you'll be able to see for yourself and get a good idea of where the housing prices are going to go in the future. That got you interested? I sure hope so. But first, if you're a real estate investor, hit that like button and subscribe to my channel, because I'm going to give you the knowledge you need to get started and do bigger and better investments. Now that that's out of the way, let's dive right into where the real estate market is right now. Here in 2022, we're looking at a market that is being affected by a huge number of forces that are not balanced or normal. To understand if prices are going to go up or down, we need to understand what's in play. I'm going to go through the 6 factors that affect prices of homes for you to know now and in the future. And the biggest factor that's happening right now is inflation. Inflation for us starts with the financial crisis of 2008. 2008 was like the one bad party where you invited your friends and they just trashed the place, leaving you to clean up the aftermath. And right after that, we get hit with a pandemic. These 2 major events compelled the government to take unprecedented actions, resulting in a huge increase in the money supply, aka printing more money than existed in the world. And just a few short years later, the effects have started to show. We used to live in a world where the Fed convinced us that 2% mortgage rates were normal. Those rates are gone and they're never coming back. Every economist and investor told us that this would come at a high cost. And unfortunately, the worst came to pass and prices of everything across the board have risen due to high inflation. Quantitative easing and low interest rates flooded the market with money, causing asset inflation in the stock market and real estate. Then this inflation spread to other sectors of the economy, including oil prices. And as we all know, inflation leads to interest rates rising. So let's talk about interest rates. In order to combat inflation, the Fed raised interest rates. This increase made borrowing more expensive, drove the stock market down 10% since the beginning of the year, and pushed mortgage rates to 6% as of this recording. The cost of owning a house became more expensive and less affordable as interest rates rose, reducing demand for real estate. And the third factor, demographics. Working from home, migration, and millennials are all examples of the demographic shifts that were affected by inflation. Keep in mind that these trends have occurred in the past, but on a smaller scale, causing no major disruption. However, because the millennials are the largest population cohort in the US, when they jump, the whole country shakes. This is intriguing because the effect is not evenly distributed across the US. Cities experiencing negative migration will experience a decrease in demand and increase in supply. Similarly, cities experiencing significant increase in migration will see prices rise because demand will increase at an unsustainable rate. Next up is one of the key factors of housing prices is the housing supply. During the pandemic, the demand went down, obviously, but the supply also went down at the same rate. So it didn't have any effect on the house prices. So in order to have a change, you have to have, the demand going down or the supply going up in in different direction. And this is going to make major changes in the prices. Foreclosures. Mass foreclosures are one of the biggest factors in increasing supply enough to drop prices. But unlike in 2008, there won't be a large number of foreclosures because there are forbearance programs in place and the borrowers have been vetted. Going down the list, one of the biggest reasons for foreclosures is unemployment. If unemployment increases, of course, people can't pay mortgages and foreclosures start to rise. Today, unemployment is extremely low, and if the economy enters a slump, this could result in a large number of layoffs, raising the unemployment. Even the prospect of losing your job will cause the demand for housing to fall. If unemployment skyrockets, there could be a massive increase in housing, bringing the market down. When combined with a significant drop in demand, it could bring the real estate market to a halt. Whew. Those are all the factors. With that out of the way, what's going to happen to the housing prices? Despite a slight decrease in inflation in July, the Federal Reserve and economists are skeptical that inflation will continue to fall. Inflation will almost certainly continue to rise. The price of oil is currently rising. Inflation is typically higher in major cities and smaller in smaller cities. And the reason for that is that a lot of cities have city taxes on top of other taxes that you would get from the state and the federal government, and sales taxes. It's a higher cost for the stores to rent the space. It's a higher cost to bring the merchandise into the city. And also, there's a much higher demand for these products in the city. So you have one grocery stores for a very tight population in that area. And because of this, the prices are normally higher in major cities compared to smaller towns. What does this mean? This means that house prices are going to go down in cities where inflation is the highest. So Atlanta, Dallas, Tampa, Miami, Seattle, Detroit, Phoenix, these are all cities that I would be worried about. So Powell stated that the Fed will not be swayed by a month or two of data showing that the inflation is down. Interest rates are expected to rise further, putting downward pressure on house prices. The Fed is going to keep increasing interest rates. And that means a lower demand in houses, which is going to bring the house prices down. So we've talked about how inflation is going to be bigger in cities and bring the house prices down in cities more than smaller towns. Now we know that interest rate is going to affect house prices across the board, all over the US, because it's going to make houses less affordable. But how much are house prices going to go down? Let's look at demographics next. So the first point I want to make is that millennials are a big group of people, and then whatever they do is going to affect the economy dramatically. So one of the things that's happening with millennials is that they want to work from home. The companies that they work for, they're going to think about making these working from home as a formal policies. That means that millennials or workers will be able to work from home, but if they work in the different cities, there's going to be an adjustment in their salary. The millennials are going to make the choice that I want to live in a city that has a better quality of life, that is cheaper to live, even if I have a lower salary. And that's what's going to happen. So we're going to see a lot of migration. So you're going to see cities that have net migration, negative net migration, people moving out. The prices are going to go down significantly from that. And then you're going to see big price increases in smaller cities where the millennials are going. If I'm going to put this together, that means that inflation is really going to affect the big cities the most. So it's going to bring these house prices down because of inflation. If we look at the interest rate increase that we're going to see in the future, that means that house prices are going to go down across the board. It's going to affect everybody. All right, let's talk about housing supply. Housing supply is one of the most important factors when it comes to housing prices going up or down. Here's a snapshot of cities across the US right now. Nashville, Tennessee. Inventory in Nashville is up 120% year over year, from 2,400 to 5,200, while price cuts are on the rise. Investors purchased 21% of the home in Q4 2021, and investors have no emotional attachment to these properties. They simply want to make a profit. And according to Altos research, the median list price has dropped 7% since just a few months ago. Las Vegas, Nevada. The Las Vegas housing market has been abandoned by real estate investors. Housing inventory has increased by 83% year over year to 9,100, and over 67% of the listings have had their price reduced. The median list price has dropped 15% since May of this year. Seattle, Washington. The Seattle housing market is collapsing due to rising mortgage rates. The median list price has also dropped by 5% since May of this year, according to Altos research. Tampa, Florida. They used to say that Tampa was one of the hottest markets in North America. Not anymore. In Tampa, real estate investors have abandoned the market, resulting in nearly 100% increase in homes for sale. And the median list price went down 5% since May 2022. Next up, Austin, Texas. Austin is home to what is arguably America's largest housing bubble. The number of houses for sale has increased by 154% year over year to 7,800. This is a significant increase, and 6,000 of these homes have had their price reduced. Austin is experiencing a record drop in home values. Some investors believe the value has already dropped by up to 10%. The median list price has dropped 13% since May, according to Altos research. Phoenix, Arizona. Phoenix's housing market is in serious trouble. Inventory is nearing record levels with a 160% year-over-year increase, and 60% of the houses have had their price reduced. The median list price has dropped 14% since May 2022. Here are some key takeaways. Higher mortgage rates and the possibility of a recession are causing prospective home buyers in popular migration destinations to put their purchases on hold. The performance of the stock market has a significant impact on workers in large job centers who rely on their stock portfolio for down payments, cities such as San Francisco and San Jose. So homeowners are more realistic about the value of their home and are more willing to negotiate, particularly in areas where homes received multiple offers and sell for more than they were asking for. Cities such as Denver, Seattle, San Francisco, and Phoenix are examples of that. Pandemic home buying hotspots with steep price increases are the most vulnerable to a housing downturn. So where should you put your money? A Redfin article suggests that investing in the Rust Belt is a safer bet. In Cleveland, Ohio, house inventory increased by only 3% over the previous year. Significantly different from the other cities we mentioned. 37% of homes had their price reduced. The median list price has returned to its August 2020 level at 27% increase since May 2022. Cincinnati, Ohio, inventory increased by only 7% from 2016 to 2021. Only 1% of the active listing had their price reduced. The median list price has dropped 40% since May of 2021, according to Altos research. So in conclusion, are house prices going to go up or down? What I'm thinking is that if you're looking for an answer where, house prices are going to go down across the board and stuff like that, this is not going to be the case. So in general, the tendency of the overall market is going to be downward pressure for house prices. So I think that this is going to be a force that's going to pull the house prices down. But it's not going to be even. Big cities are going to be pushed down. The house prices are going to go down in bigger cities. Most of them, not all of them. And then we're going to see potentially an increase in prices in some of the smaller cities that have high demand that are really driving millennials to move in. Cities like San Francisco, Austin, Phoenix are good examples of cities where I think the house prices are going to go down. In terms of cities where house prices are going to go up, I'm thinking Cleveland, the Rust Belt area. These are cities that prices are going to go up or are going to be more stable. If you want to predict what the house prices is going to do in the future, here's what you do. You look at each of these factors and determine how it affects housing prices. You look at interest rate going up or down. You look at inflation and how it will affect housing prices. Is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? And you basically add up all these things together to figure out, in your opinion, if the housing price is going to go up or down. Obviously, not all of them are of equal strength. Inflation, interest rate, and something like housing supply are going to have a very high impact on housing prices more than others. But you kind of summarize all of these to form an opinion about what you think is going to happen with the housing prices. So as you read the news, as you collect information and you see what's happening on the market, you're going to form an opinion. You're going to see that, the interest rate is going to go up. That means that house prices is going to go down. It's pushing the house prices down. You're going to look at, housing supply is really going up right now. And that means that the house prices are going to go down. Now, this is not a crystal ball. This is not a perfect indicator. But if many of these factors are pointing down, that means the house prices are going to go down. If you live in a big city, watch out. Make sure you like and subscribe, and see you next time.